Ever known something was wrong and still you did it anyway? You ever read something, heard truth, felt convicted, and then immediately you felt the urge to explain it away? That tension, that discomfort, that inner debate you experience is called cognitive dissonance. If this resonates with you even a little, go ahead and like the video, subscribe, and stay with me because by the end, you'll have tools you can use today. From a psychological standpoint, cognitive dissonance arises when your beliefs clash with your actions or your knowledge with your behavior. Brain craves consistency, and when truth disrupts comfort, it seeks relief rather than clarity. Spiritually, this is where flesh meets spirit, echoing the words, "The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." Let's dive deeper. Hello, and welcome to Psychology with Purpose, renewing the mind, aligning truth, and I am yours truly, Professor T. I want to thank you for joining in on this absolutely important subject, cognitive dissonance. Yeah, that's how you do it. Even I get tripped over the words. But anyway, so let's talk about it, okay? I want to go over again what cognitive dissonance is. So cognitive dissonance is the discomfort we feel when our beliefs and actions don't align, or when we hold two conflicting ideas at the same time. So your brain craves consistency. So when your behavior doesn't match your values, your mind tries to reduce that tension. And here's the important part. Most people don't resolve dissonance by changing behavior first. They resolve it by changing the story that they tell themselves. So what do I mean by that? Your self-talk. What is the story that you tell yourself? What are you feeding into your own mind, your body, your soul, and your spirit? Okay? So let's talk about why it matters. All right, we're going to look at psychology plus faith out of that particular lens there. From a psychological perspective, cognitive dissonance it's a normal human experience. It can show up in habits, it can show up in relationships, identity, and also decision making. Now, from a faith-based principle or perspective, this is where many people feel conviction, inner conflict, or that sense of, I know better. And sometimes it's not just mental discomfort, it's a signal that you're being called into alignment. All right? So when you feel that particular uneasy feeling, that means that you are being called into alignment. All right? Not condemnation. It is alignment. All right? So let me provide to you some relatable examples, okay? That maybe sometimes we try to tell ourselves, or we do tell ourselves when you're trying to grow, but these things we keep telling ourselves and it makes us reverse backwards, okay? Instead of moving forward, we go back to that feeling and we sit in it instead of overcoming it. So one of the things we say, and this is example number one, you say you want peace, but you keep returning back to chaos. You say you're done, okay? But you keep responding, especially in arguments. You say, I'm done. But then they say something to trigger you and you roll with it, okay? You're back in it. You're saying you're changing, but your environment stays the same. If you indeed have changed, then what surroundings looks different around you? Are you in the same space? So disconnect shows up as, it's not that bad. That means I'm disconnected. I'll stop later. You're disconnected. I just need one more time. Just one more time. You're disconnected. God understands, right? Oh, no, the famous one. Oh, God knows my heart. You indeed are disconnected. And example number two, relationships. You know that relationship is unhealthy, but you've invested time, love, memories, and hope. So the mind protects itself with this. They're not always like that. I know you've heard that, or maybe you've said that. right? Let's see. I'm being too sensitive. Okay. Oh, I can fix it. It'll be all right. I can fix it. I mean, knows that it never gets fixed. At least they don't, and then you can fill in the blank. At least they don't act like this person. Or at least it's not as bad as this person. Okay. So that's how the mind protects itself while it's in that unhealthy relationship. Example number three. Put up 2, 3. You know you're called to do more. You know that you're called to more. But stepping into it means losing comfort. It means losing old patterns or disappointing people. So you delay, right? Overcoming this thing with, oh, I'm just not ready yet. I'm just not ready to leave that relationship yet. What else? I need more time. Well, before you know it, 10 years have passed by and you're still stuck in that same uncomfortable feeling. You know it feels bad, right? But you just won't do nothing about it. I'll do it when things settle down. Things may never settle down. And once they do settle down, a lot of times that stuff picks right back up. Okay? So when are you going to be tired? When are you going to make the choice and change? So let's talk about 3 main ways people reduce dissonance or dissonance. Yeah, it's dissonance. Okay. When beliefs and actions clash, people typically do one of 3 things. Number 1, they change their behavior. Number 2, change their belief, or they may water it down some. Number 3, add justification. The fastest and most common is number 3, justification. And that's where many people get stuck, is when you justify staying in that uncomfortableness, when you know you are called for more. Your body, your spirit, your soul is screaming to be free, but you got to make that choice. All right? So I know I've given you the definition, but some of you may be numb to the symptoms of cognitive dissonance. And so I want to give you some signs that lets you know that, hey, I didn't know. I'm in this thing. I'm in this uncomfortableness. Because sometimes what we do when we don't want to face it, we normalize it. You still have that feeling, but you just for a little bit and then you move on. So here's some signs. You might be experiencing dissonance if you notice you feel defensive when someone tells the truth. You know they're telling the truth, but instead of accepting it, instead of receiving it, you will be defensive and combat against it. All right? That's a sign that you are in cognitive dissonance. All right. You avoid certain conversations, videos, or teachings. You just get up and leave right in the middle of the sermon. Or in the class, you go and excuse yourself to the bathroom. Or you try to distract, all right, with change blindness. In other words, change blindness is when you're on an uncomfortable subject, but to move out of it, you try to throw in something that has nothing to do with the subject to try to throw everybody off so you don't have to deal with it. Okay? Let's see here. You keep explaining instead of changing. That goes with the justification. You feel anxious after choices you know weren't aligned. And you feel irritation when someone mirrors your inconsistency. So dishonest doesn't always look like guilt. Okay, I want you to know that. Sometimes it looks like irritation. So those are some signs. Where are you at right now? Have you experienced these things? All right. So let's talk about some solutions that you can use today to help you pull through this. So these are some practical tools that you can use immediately. How bad you want to be free. Okay? So the first thing you need to do is name it. Ask, what truth am I resisting? Awareness lowers the power of tension. Number 2, identify the cost. You want to ask this: what would I lose if I faithfully aligned? because dishonest often protects comfort. Okay? And then number 3, replace justification with one question. And this is the question I want you to ask to replace that justification. What would alignment look like today? I'm going to say that again. What would alignment look like today? Not next month, right now, today. And number 4, choose one small action. In other words, you can't just jump into it all at one time. Sometimes you have to take baby steps, little by little. And so this may apply to you. Send the apology. Set the boundary wherever you fall within these things, okay? Stop the hidden habit. This is a big one. Tell the truth. I find that most of my clients are free and they experience freedom a lot faster when they are true to others and also when they are true to themselves. Ask for help. What's wrong with us? Why are we so prideful these days? Everybody need help. Y'all see those prices? Y'all seen those food prices? We need help. Put that pride aside. Trust me, a lot of your popular leaders, okay, and your successful people that you view as valuable and successful, they did not get to where they are today. Let me reframe this. They wouldn't have accomplished a lot of the things that they've accomplished today if it wasn't for people helping them. If it wasn't for their support base. So everybody deserves help. Everybody deserves support. Okay? Everybody. And then remove the trigger. What's triggering that uncomfortableness? Make the call. All right? Now, another thing I want you to do is please check your environment. That is so crucial. And that is so important. If your environment supports the old you, you'll keep drifting back. I'll say that again. If your environment supports the old man or the old woman, you'll keep drifting back into it. And I should have got me some water, but that's okay. You'll keep drifting back into it. So I want you to ask yourself, and you got a lot of questions to ask yourself and answer, and you probably haven't asked yourselves this many questions, but hey, we're trying to get free. Okay, we're trying to get out of this. All right? So I want you to ask yourself this question. Is my space feeding my future or feeding my past? Now that was a word. I don't know about all of y'all. You need to ask yourself that. Woo! And some of us, when we actually, I want to say, comprehend the answer, my God, today, that'll be something. You talking about such a breakthrough. And then actually make the change. Whatever you need to do to get free, do it. Trust me. The strongest relationship, or I should say one of the strongest relationships you should have, is the relationship that you have with yourself. With yourself, not anybody else. What is the strongest relationship? All right? It is the relationship that you have with yourself. So how have you been treating yourself? Are you allowing people to walk all over you? Are you allowing people to just talk to you any old kind of way because you don't want to experience that cognitive dissonance? What is around you? Once again, is my space feeding my future or is it feeding my past? All right, so let me kind of reframe this in a faith-based way. I want to look at this like conviction versus condemnation. So take note of this. Conviction is not condemnation. Despite of what anybody has told you, it is not condemnation. So what do I mean by that? So condemnation says you're hopeless. That's what condemnation says. But conviction says you're being called higher. I'm going to say that again. Condemnation says you're hopeless. Conviction says you're being called higher. When you feel that internal tension, don't just rush to silence it. You want to pause and ask, is this discomfort exposing a place where I need alignment? Because remember, it's calling you higher. All right. So I'm going to close. Okay? But I'm going to close with calling you to action. And I want to say again, if this video has hit home, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means you are aware. Remember, I said awareness is one of the first steps. You're naming it. You're identifying it. And awareness is the first step again toward change. So I want you to comment below. What's harder? Changing your behavior or changing your explanation? Once again, I want you to comment below. What is harder? Changing your behavior or changing your explanation? All right. If you want more psychology with a purpose-driven, faith-based perspective, I want you to like, please, and subscribe. This is my new channel. I'm building it up. And you'll get some more videos on different subject matters that can help us psychologically and stay mentally healthy. All right. I also want you to share this with someone that maybe who's been wrestling with that inner tension and they didn't know what to call it. They don't know how to overcome it. And now you have some tools, you have a resource that you can share with them that can support them in their growth, that can support them and help them be in alignment. Because truth doesn't destroy you. Truth frees you. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.